Tango 1 at the top, we are at pop-up vehicle. 10-4, Tango 1, you have control. Tango 1 copy. Stand by. Stand by.
Integrity, passion, resilience. That's what this place was built on. That's what our community is founded on. Don't act like the example, just be the example. This is the home of the greatest fitness community in the world. We're trying to create strong, able bodies, resilient to injury with a gas tank to get shit done. If there's one thing from this podcast, it's about taking immediate action, find the problem, fix the problem. This is your opportunity. It's either a hell yes or a fuck no. It's that simple. You're ruining the Tango 1 podcast. Now is the time to take action. Now's the time to do more and be more.
I don't usually do it from here. This is my other gym that you've never been to. This is Kingsville. I usually record
nice.
at Amherstburg, but I'm working out here tonight with the group. We're short and instructors are on vacation, so I'm coaching tonight.
Fun.
So yes, everybody, welcome to the Tango 1 podcast. I'm your host. As always, we want you to do more and be more, take action on your weaknesses. And today I have an amazing guest who's done just that for the last almost 15 years that I've known her. This is Lisa Maximus with us today, right from Salt Lake City. Lisa is a rapidly emerging premier leader in the fitness community. She's currently holds multiple world records in powerlifting, which I can't wait to talk about. And she's the co-owner, but I basically know she runs the Maximus gym with her husband, Bobby, who you guys have heard on this podcast, one of my great friends, my longest time friends. And most importantly, she's a mother of two children and stepmother to a great young man, Beans, and business owner. And she is obviously an athlete and amongst all kinds of other things, a spokesman, I'd say, for women being strong, not skinny. I love that part. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yeah, you got that's quite the entrance you got.
Hey, thanks.
So today I want to talk I love we already kind of talked about it right before we hit record here, was you're so real and raw, and I want to talk about some of those things. I think your transformation that I've seen and witnessed and you've been so open about over I know we've known each other probably 13, 14 years, something like that, I feel like.
Yeah, it's been a while, and you've really seen it. You were there from the complete get-go. So it's funny when you said that, I was like, yeah, Tony's kind of been there for the whole thing. And it's funny because I went home right now, more than half of them wouldn't even recognize me. Physically, emotionally, and from every aspect, I feel like I've really changed a lot. So
let's start right there.
Yeah, it's been an interesting thing. I've kind of they say that you change a lot when you're 30. When you're 30, you change so much. You know who you are. And I feel like that definitely happened for me. But at the same time, it was a slow growth, and it really had a lot to do with who I was surrounded by, and where who my circle of friends were, and how that's evolved and changed over the last few years. And I've really, as a woman, I feel like right now is a really, really interesting and empowering time to be a woman. And I really enjoyed. I don't want to say helping the movement, because that's not really the thing, but for me, just being part of it, right? Being part of kind of bucking against norms of what beauty is for women and what women are supposed to do. And, I've just kind of gone against the grain in a lot of ways. And so it's just kind of been fun to change and grow and become this different person.
Yeah. So when you were, what was it? Was it Rochester? Where were Ferndale?
Bloomfield Hills.
Bloomfield Hills. Okay.
Oh yes, Birmingham. Hills.
Yeah, so we met at 313, I think, for the first time, and that's basically just outside of Detroit. And you were dating Rob, and actually that was the day. I think the day we met was the day you were getting engaged, or you didn't know. I didn't know. Rob was just he's all over me to be there on time. I'm like, dude, you've never been on time for anything. I'll get there as soon as I can. I was on midnights and crossing the border. I got held up. And I missed the action. I'm like, no. But when you then, I would say that you were I don't know, it sounds like whatever. I'm not trying to sound putting women down, but then you were typical, what I would say typical woman workout kind of person. You were fit, you did a lot of great things. You worked out every day. You were the best kettlebell I've ever seen. You're all over me on my kettlebell slings and fixing that stuff. But to go from there to counting your steps, and the calories into like watching you lift like 500 freaking pounds, like at 100 and something, barely 110 pounds, 120 pounds. It's just outstanding. Like, how did that, like, maybe take me through that just a little bit?
Yeah. So it's funny because I feel like fitness, and this is what I try to explain, especially to women. We have this narrow lens of like what fitness is, where it's like, oh, just like you said when you met me, like basic. I don't want to call myself a basic. I was a basic bitch. Just someone called me out for it once for a funny story, really quick. I was standing outside of Whole Foods at downtown Salt Lake, and there was this girl sitting in the corner, kind of gothic, like she had long black hair, safety pins in her pants, like big platform shoes, very alternative. And she looks at me and she goes, "Basic bitch." And I looked at her, I was like, and I looked down and I was wearing Ugg boots, Lululemon pants, a North Face jacket, aviator sunglasses. My hair was in a top knot. I was drinking a kombucha and had a Whole Foods bag in my hand. And I was like, touche. Like, actually, that's a fair, like that, yes, this is as basic bitch as it gets. That's totally what I was doing, was training to train, trying to burn calories. I wanted to look fit. But I did a lot of stuff that never amounted to anything. So it was like, oh yeah, I was really good at like rowing 100-meter sprint and then farmer carrying weight and then doing 5 push-ups, then doing that for 10 rounds, in 40 minutes. And it kind of didn't amount to anything. Like I was kind of like, okay, I was just digging myself into a hole to dig myself into a hole. And it was like, how far and how deep can I dig that hole? I didn't understand nutrition. I didn't understand recovery. I didn't understand this whole spectrum of training, really, right? Like actually training for a goal, accomplishing something. And so as I went through this journey of training hard, because it served me at the time, I loved doing it when I was doing it, right? Just being all around fit. I could run well, I could row well, I could lift well, pull-ups, push-ups. Like I was a well-rounded, person, like fitness person. And then I, started having kids. And so when I had Jax, my first, when I was postpartum, I wasn't, as we have to take time off. I had C-section, so I had that 6 weeks off. And I went to get back into working out. And I got on a rower and I was like, I'm going to crush, 250-meter rows. And I got to get back into this thing, which, by the way, I didn't love doing to begin with. Cardio was always hard for me. I didn't love it. Right. And so like if I PR'd my like row time, I was kind of like, I wasn't like celebrating it, right? It just wasn't my passion. And anyway, it was affecting my milk supply. So my doctor was like, take it easy on the cardio. You can start lifting again, but try to, ease on the cardio. It can affect milk supply if you're a low supplier. I'm like, cool, an excuse to just lift? Great. Like, that's just what I want to do. And at the time, I thought a 300-pound deadlift was really good. And so I was like, I can deadlift 300 pounds. I'm going to mic drop fitness. I'm going to mic drop and like quit fitness because I am the strongest motherfucker. Like I am just like, that was my goal, was 300-pound deadlift. And so, cause I didn't know anyone who could do that, and that's when I found powerlifting. So Rob got an opportunity to go to Westside Barbell and go speak with Louis Simmons. And I was like, oh, I know Westside Barbell, because back in Detroit, I knew people who followed them and idolized them. Right. And I want to ride your coattails. Can I ride your coattails to Westside Barbell? And he was like, you really want to go? Okay, fine. It's like, yeah, I want to deadlift 300 pounds. And I had one conversation with Louis Simmons, who was like, I have track athletes that deadlift 400 pounds who are smaller than you. I was like, damn, Louis, like, okay. So I went in the gym. Said, if you want to deadlift, you got to be here at 4:00 in the morning. And that's what I did. I got up at 4 a.m. I went in and I got to train with him. I trained with him in this group a couple of times and just fell in love with it. I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to strength train. And that is when I turned this corner with my training. And I started to understand, I stopped caring about calories. I stopped caring about what my body looked like. Yes, it was, I was postpartum and I was trying to be gentle with myself, but kind of came from an eating disordery background, wanted to, look a certain way. And I started to look at my body just differently. Like I was more proud of it. Like as the more I started lifting, the heavier the weights got. I was like, damn, once I hit the 300, which was like a really big day, I was like, okay, deadlifted 300. Now it's 400, right? I was right on to the next thing. But I started looking at myself differently in the mirror. I was like, oh my gosh, my body's capable, right? Like I'm breastfeeding my children. I birthed a person. I'm deadlifting 300 pounds. Like my body's this cool tool that I need to build. And when you opened this podcast, you were saying, find your weaknesses. like, or improve on your weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I really took on, I love that quote. I really took on that mindset of like, all right, let's figure out my deadlift. Like, what's weak? Okay, it's my lower back. I need to do lower back accessories. Or it's my core. I need to build like a core. And I need to build my shoulders to get a bigger bench. Like, I just started looking at my body like this ally and asset and thing that I could look at where my weaknesses were instead of running from them, lean into them, improve the weakness. And I became stronger as a whole. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm looking at myself differently or if my body's actually changing, but I started to really love myself. Like, my body was changing in the way that I wanted it to. So I liked the way I looked in the mirror. I felt good in my skin. I felt capable as a person. And I started respecting myself. So I was eating to fuel my workouts. I noticed if I skipped a meal, I wouldn't be able to train well. And I was like, why was food the enemy this whole time? Food is not the enemy. Food is fuel to get me going, to get me to produce numbers that I want to produce in the gym. Let's be a functional, person or athlete. So the more I ate, the better I performed. The better I performed, the more I would sleep and recover, because all of a sudden now sleep and recovery is a thing. And so it's just this respect that I had for myself that I'd never had before. Before it was like, almost like beat myself down, take things away, right? Like, eat less, train more, dig yourself into this hole and withhold food. Now I'm kind of doing this opposite thing of like, nourish my body, recover, have these slopes of not training so hard. And then these big training sessions where I would have a PR, I would do something I never thought I was capable of doing.
Yeah, when you were doing all the calorie stuff, you looked great. But if you put like you post those two pictures of you in like probably right just after we met or when you first moved to Salt Lake City versus how you look now, and the body weight difference is really like minute. It might even be
It's almost identical. Yeah, I mean
yeah,
my weight was the same. It's just a
the
complete
composition's
composition.
clear. Like when you like you're ripped, like you're ripped, right? Like when you look at those pictures and it's like, that's what, it's so hard in our gym, we have probably 90%, 85% women. It's been very challenging to get a lot of women to feel the way that you are. And it's now catching on, but it's like, you just got to stay on it because you're breaking 150 years of,
this weird innate, like, it and it makes sense in your brain, but you can't execute it. It's like against every ounce of your being. It's weird. Like, it took me a really long time to and I'll even revert back to it. I had a conversation with a girlfriend yesterday, literally, and we were talking about eating disorders. And I was like, she was saying she doesn't log, she just intuitively eats. And I was like, I can't do that. She's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, I can't intuitively eat at all. Like, intuitive eating does not work for me. My intuition is to undereat. Like, I had it. Like, if I eat one meal a day, I'm like, I ate so much. I'm so satisfied. Like, I don't need to eat the rest of the day. Like, what? Like, it doesn't make any sense, but like, that's my brain tells myself. And so if I'm not logging everything that I'm doing, I log to eat enough. And so I'm trying to make sure that I'm, putting enough fuel in, because I'll be like, I ate this really big meal. Turns out it was only like 400 calories. By the end of the day, I'm at 800 calories, nowhere near enough, right? That's to fuel real training and real performance.
Right,
and
especially whole foods, right? When you're looking at a whole food, it looks a lot different than like the flaky food that's got this big and massive, and you feel like you're eating a lot of food, but you're really not, right?
Right. It's interesting. So it's like, I can't, I'll do a thing where, if you eat dense, a lot of snacks in the day, I'm like, I haven't eaten anything. It's like the calories actually amounted to something. If I'm like, why am I not hungry? I'll look back and be like, oh, no wonder. I've totally eaten, I've eaten, 2,500 calories a day. I'm good. So I have to keep a hand on the dial, because my, the little undertone of my eating disorder, from back in the day that's been ingrained is still there, and Rob makes fun of me all the time. He's like, you told me 2 days ago that you haven't been training, and I just watched you like totally like beat yourself to shit, train so hard for the past 4 days. Like, and I was like, yeah, I just forget. I like train and then forget it never happened. And so I really need a training program. I really need to record things, because I'll definitely put like a little bit of a bias on it. So that's super important for me, for performance stuff.
Yeah, you said something that's really important too, I think, is like you said, when you were training, you weren't really having fun. right? And then like you started to, when you lifting, you started to enjoy it. And I think that is such a key for me. Like I don't power lift to the point where you do, but uh, the few times that I have gone all in for, 4 or 5 months of powerlifting, man, the second I get off that platform, I am like, you got to realize that too. It's time to turn the switch off mentally. I can't do it. I need to like just step away, go ride my bike, just, maybe go play basketball with the kid, like just do stuff like that. That's just getting my mind out of the gym and then get
Yeah.
hungry to come back. Like, I think that's a huge, when you do those, I mean, what is your deadlift? What was that last deadlift, your world record? I should look this up. Proper host would look this up.
410, I think, is what my last one was. I've hit 425 in the gym. So I'm like dying to do it on the platform. It's just hard to do after you try, like after you squat, close to 5 or almost 5 and then bench.
Right. Your squat's higher than your
deadlift. You're so done. Yeah, you go to deadlift and you're like, oh my gosh, like everything hurts. So, but I'm like dying to hit that over 410 or 420 on the platform.
Like at your size, that just has to take such a toll on you, that training. And like, you must feel that. Like, I remember coming home from you guys putting us through that hell week there up in Salt Lake City, and coming home and like, I went to jump on a box that was like 18 inches and I couldn't get up. And I was like, what is wrong with me? And that's what you're talking about. Like, you're peaking, you're hanging from the roof, and then you fall, right?
Yes. And so that's the thing is, when you're doing the general fitness GPP stuff, you can hang out at that 50 to 60% mark. And if you recover a little, you can go, up a little bit, and you can kind of ride this wave of training harder, mess around with intensity, if you will. Like, training hard Monday, but taking it a little easy on Tuesday, go hard again Wednesday, take it easy a little on Thursday, go hard again Friday, and then, go balls out Saturday, recover Sunday. And that is a great training schedule. But when you do what I do, so if I go in and, so I do multiply powerlifting. So I wear gear, and it just means I can move more X times my body weight. Right. So it's really technical. And it's a lot of neurological. So that's the other thing that's funky about it, is because you're essentially, it's really hard to test your CNS. So when you're like, why do I feel so flat? It's actually your CNS is burned out more than your muscles are. Like, I feel pretty good, but like you said, jumping on a box is impossible. Or the tap test. Have you ever done a tap test before?
No. What's this?
So to test your CNS, there's like a tap test. They can do it for concussions. You sit down and you like tap on a box like as fast as you can, and you're like loaded and like ready to go. You can like tap crazy fast. But if you're like, when your CNS is stunted, you're like,
really?
Like there's like nothing, like if you feel like you're going to jump and your legs are full of sand, like that feeling of like, you just don't, like your central nervous system just fried. So, and it takes a lot longer to heal your CNS. They say that 8 weeks, to truly heal your CNS, that it can take like 8 weeks so if you were to, like, let's say I squat 520, just PR the crap out of my back squat. Like, I won't be able to even come close to that for like 8 weeks or like 6 to 8 weeks. So when I go and train and I'm like, doing a top set at like 90%, if I'm hitting like 485 for a double and then taking 415 for sixes, I can't even like really, like when I'm going into some of my reps, I black out. Like I'll be coming down and I just like can't even see. I'm like, I hope I come up. I don't know what day it is, what time it is. Like it takes everything I have out of me. So
I'm really bad for that. I get the spots too, and like even like go down like to the knee after like a heavy one, like where you're just like dizzy.
Yeah. I just can't, like the room literally gets like hazy. Like it looks like out here, we have inversion. It looks like inversion. Like it's like gray. And thank God for my spotters, and I trust them obviously with my life, because I'm like, hey, what rep am I on? I don't even, count for me, please. Because I don't even know. They count my depth, everything. So I just listen to commands and just go up and down and, ingrain it in my body. But when you go that hard, you have to really come down. So it's like I train really hard like that on Monday. I'll go in on Tuesday, for my accessory stuff. And it's like, I'm like almost getting pinned under 135. And it's like, well, I thought you could squat 500. I'm like, I can, but I can't come back the next day and squat 3. Like, right. That's not how it works. Like if I blow out on Monday, like I'm coming in on Tuesday and just putting work in, checking the box and like working my weaknesses, right? Figuring out what's imbalanced, fixing and rebalancing my body and things like that. But you can't go hard all the time. It just doesn't.
Just think of that lesson from like, being at the top of the weightlifting to how you used to be. I remember being at your house and we'd be 2 hours in the gym in the morning, and you and Rob, you guys totally set the standard for me and Danny to like want to live that life where we could like it's like, cool, we drag the kids to the gym and have a workout together. We don't really talk, we're there, you kind of talk, you have a coffee, you lift. But we do that, we'd go at 2 hours, and of course Rob would come up with something that would kill us, or you would come up with something, and then we'd go home, and then you'd go for a bike ride, or you'd go for this hike. Like, you were just always go, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I never slowed down. I didn't take that recovery time. And that's kind of what I mean when like that mindset of like more. And I almost pushed myself to see what I was really capable of doing. I ended up putting in like 100 hours a week or something. Like an Olympic swimmer. That's like what like Michael Phelps puts in when he is training for the Olympics. And
right, but on the side, you had to raise kids. You didn't get to go lay in the hyper chamber.
Right. And I wasn't eating enough. So I was like, how little can I eat and how hard can I train and like what can I really put up with? And it's like I just wasn't doing myself any justice, if you will. And again, like I didn't really get off my workouts. Like I would finish a workout and it was like, you know, cool. I don't really know if I'm getting fitter. I don't really know if I'm getting better. I just think I was toting that line, right? Of, yeah, I didn't love my body. Like I didn't have, and what I mean by that is it's not about aesthetics. When I say things like that, like, oh, how I looked or how I felt, it was how I felt about myself. You know, and I think that's a really big deal when it comes to training and being athletics, how you feel in your body. Like if you feel balanced, you know, and we all train to feel confident in the way that we look and how you know what I mean? Like when someone was like, oh, you look like a runner. I'm like, oh, I want to look like a lifter. I want to look jacked, not like thin, you know, I don't want to look like I can't do anything. I want to feel and look physically capable. And so
but I hope if somebody's taking anything away from the conversation, sorry to cut you off, the Zoom thing is just awkward. I hope that if anybody's taking anything away from listening to you today, is that, especially the women that come to our gym, or any woman listening to this, guys too, though, is that if you focus on becoming strong, if you focus on eating and training for the performance, the aesthetics that we all want comes as a byproduct. When you just
that's
focus
exactly what I'm trying to say.
The other way, it doesn't come, right? When you focus on looking good, the performance doesn't necessarily come with it.
Yep. And I don't know, and this is, thank you for saying that, because this is how I want to add on to it. I don't know if it's actually I look different or if it's how I look at myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, the body dysmorphia stuff where they say like draw yourself in a chalk line what you think you look like and then actually lay in it. It's like we all have this distorted version of what we look like.
Mine's like,
yep. I'm nude. Mine's, you know, we all have this distortion. When I look in the mirror, I see something you don't see. And so when I started weight training and lifting and feeling physically capable, I feel like now I look physically capable, and you could sit there and be like, Lisa, you look exactly the same, but I see someone different. I see this like person that I like. And I keep saying this because it's so important to like yourself, like to feel confident in who you are and to like yourself, you know, and not try to fit a mold of what you think you should be for other people to like you. You need to like yourself. And so anyway, I found that, like, I finally found this like version of I train, I put weight on the bar. It's a measurable unit of me getting better. And that's what gets me off. I'm like, I just got stronger. And then it's like, hammer your weakness, put 10 pounds on the bar, lift the bar. I did it. I just got stronger. And so building this, like this, and it's like a chess game of like, okay, I'm watching video, endlessly watching video of my bench, my squat, my deadlift, my movements, and being like, oh, I'm compensating in my Bulgarian split squat by leaning forward a little because my glutes are weak. I need to stay back and like go straight down and work that glute. All of a sudden, do that for a couple of weeks. All of a sudden, my squat goes up. I'm like, yes. I just found the weakness, fixed the weakness, and now I'm stronger. So that's what I love about the weightlifting aspect of things versus the other stuff. And again, not that was bad. There's a lot of people who love that, and it's fitness is great, and that GPP stuff is awesome. It's just for me, the way my brain works is ticking those weights on the bar is what makes me more hungry. I'm like, all right, I can do this. People,
if they're not going towards their 100%, they're not trying your 99.9%, or you should probably be staying in that range, right? Yeah. For a 1 rep max, if people can still add that little bit of weight to the bar at a 70% and 80%. And I think by doing so, like it's tractionable. So it keeps you kind of moving forward. And then people are like, well, I don't want to lift 400 pounds like she does, like Lisa does. But like, I think like you're not as old as me, but I'm 43. Like the reason I'm training to be strong still is so beyond the weight room, but the weight room helps me do that. Like being able to run around with my kids and see my mom, your mom's in good shape. seeing my mom play floor hockey with my kids, like, because she's strength training. She's been strength training for 15 years. Like that, I don't think that happens. And then that performance is so far beyond just that 1 rep max.
And you know what I think the huge problem is that you just said? Why is 400 pounds heavy?
Yeah, good point too.
I'm like, well, I don't want to deadlift 400. I had someone the other day who just started training with me, and we were doing a bent over row, and I was like, she's using something light, like a 20-pound dumbbell, and I said, just so you know, we're gonna work on, getting it to 40, 45, 50. Oh no, I don't think. And I was like, on what planet is that heavy?
Yes.
Like, I don't know why are you even making that sound? Why are you gasping for air? Like, why is that there? Like, what do you, so my question is this. So you start with using a 20 and you just never go up? Or you go to what, 35 and you stop? Because why? Because society, like in your mind, you think that's heavy because society, because Oxygen magazine? Is it Women's Magazine? Is it your neighbor who's like, that's way too heavy? Because you don't think about it when you're on an airplane and taking your suitcase and you're putting your suitcase in your overhead carry bin.
Yeah, that's one of my things with the RDLs. Like, we got RDLs in the gym all the time. And I'm like, your purse is actually heavier than the kettlebell you're choosing.
Yes.
Like, so
let
alone your child, your laundry basket, whatever you do at work, your groceries.
Yes, but thinking instead of actually trying it. So like you're actually capable of doing it right now. I just know it's going to scare you. So you're going to lift it weird, but you're physically capable. If like there wasn't a number on the dumbbell and I just handed it to you and said, pick this up, you'd have no problem with it. But if I write 45 pounds on it, it's like, I can't do that. I can't. And like you just said, you don't question picking up your 40-pound child.
Right. And I don't want to get bulky.
Huh?
I don't want to get bulky. If I get that 45-pound kettlebell, I'm going to get bulky.
Definitely.
You look super bulky today, Lisa, by the way.
I'm getting so bulky, Tony. I don't know what to do. I just keep growing. I'm like, no. That's if only. But yeah, I think it's a huge issue. And so it's, it's been this really fun progression for me to like find strength training, which is my passion. I love it. It gets me off in the gym in the sense of keeps me going, keeps me motivated. And I have people who ask me like, when is it enough? Right? Like, oh, my dad said this to me. I was like, yeah, I want to deadlift 400. He's like, you'll never deadlift 400 pounds. I was like, damn, Dad, that was savage. Like, really? Like, nice, like, as Bobby says, self-limiting behavior, right? Self-limiting thought, self-limiting behavior. It's who's to say that that's, like I said, that's even heavy, right? We all have these, like, numbers in our head that are heavy. Like mine, when I started, was 300 pounds. Now I'm on 4. I'm already on, like, 5. No one in my weight class has ever deadlifted 5. The heaviest in my weight class ever of all time is 475, I think. So I'm like, of course I want that number, right? Of course I want to like hit that. But if you think about in like 15 years, it's like 300 pounds won't be heavy anymore. 400 pounds won't be heavy anymore. It's like, it'll be 5. Girls will be hitting 5 left and right. I was like the 4th or 5th girl to deadlift 5 or 400 in Utah. Now there's like 15 of us.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that stuff too. I love it. Like guys come into our gym a lot and they're like, well, that's the opposite. Guys look at a gym like that looks like mine that has the rigs. It looks like a CrossFit gym more so than it does. Like we do way more powerlifting than we definitely don't do CrossFit. And I'm just worried if I leave my like Globo gym or Gold's type gym that I'm going to get weaker. And I'm like, man, you're not as strong as the 10 women that are working out right here. So like, don't worry, you're fine. Why don't you just try to get stronger? Yeah. We want to get you stronger. I just want to get you strong as these girls right here, right? These women, right? And
follow them for a few.
They never come back after that anyway. I've already lost them, but I don't care.
I had a guy up my butt the other day. I was doing like a incline 50-pound dumbbell, and he was like, "That's so good," and I'm like, kind of mad I wasn't using 60s. Like I'm like, I don't know. But it's just been a fun, like, I don't know, the strength training thing was life-changing. And like you said, finding the thing that you like, because for some people, it's not weightlifting. It might be Zumba. It might be yoga. It might be, you know what I mean? Whatever the thing is, it's just finding the thing that you like doing and then try to get better at it. Don't let people self-limit you, right? Where it's like, oh, you'll never deadlift 5. And I'm like, just keep saying that to me. Keep saying that to me. Like that's what'll help drive me there, And it's never. It's this self-limiting behavior of I want to be one of the people who's done something no one's ever done before. Like that's my goal, is to do something no one's ever done. So it's like that's when I'll be done, is hitting
Sure you
that
will. Sure
point.
you will. Sure you will.
You know me, it'll always be more. But
you make a great point though. Like no matter what you're doing, I live on the water. You've come into our town before. I live on the water there, and everybody runs by our house all day long. And the people, they look exactly the same, right? And the reason for that is because they run the same route at the same pace every day. Your body just becomes completely accustomed to that, right? So if running is your thing, go a little bit further, a little bit harder, like add those little things. That's where
intervals, something.
You can continue to see a little bit of change. But if you're going to do things the same, you're actually going to kind of degress a little bit, because age is like gravity for us in a way too. It's if you keep going at the same pace, you're getting a little bit older, things are going to start to move in ways you don't want them to. So no matter what it is you're doing, as long as you just go a little bit better every day or every week or every month, a little bit by like Rob is great at taking big tasks and breaking them down to small ones, right? Just row 1,000 meters every day as your warm up, and look at what you've done in 1 year. It's crazy, right?
Yep, it's that cumulative volume stuff, and it really, really makes a difference. And that's where like sleep comes into play, recovery comes into play. I actually took when Rob went out of town, when he did that Ultimate Fighter show, he was gone for 6 weeks, and so I was here with the kids, working, fully working and fully taking care of them during that time, and I was still lifting, and I let recovery go. I was like, I don't have time to go in the ice bath and the sauna every day. Like I just don't. I put the kids down, and I was cashed. And so little injuries started. So first of all, I didn't think it was doing anything. I was like, the ice bath is literal torture. I don't know if you've ever done it. I told Robbie we didn't need one. I was like, we don't need one. We don't need an ice bath. And now I'm in it every day. But when you go in it, it's hard. It's really hard. It's hard to calm yourself down. Every ounce of your being is screaming, get out now. And you're like trying to breathe, and it hurts. It actually physically hurts. Like it hurts your elbows. It hurts your knees. Like it hurts. Especially the first minute. After a minute goes by, it's okay. But and then taking time to go in the sauna, I'm like, I don't know if the sauna really does anything, Tony. Like if you were like, Lisa, really, tell me what the secret is. I'd be like, sauna and ice bath, maybe. When I started not doing that when Rob was gone, hip and knee both went. So I actually just came off an off season. So when you said like you take those breaks, I'd never taken a break before. When I started powerlifting, I did for pregnancy. I was pregnant with Hunter. So between Jackson and Hunter, I had that was definitely a break. But since Hunter's been born, he's now 2.5. I haven't taken a break until just now. Started implementing the ice bath in the sauna and took that break, which I needed to do, got hungry, really hungry again. And now it's like the weights are flying. My body feels fantastic. My muscles have glycogen in them again. Everyone keeps asking me, they're like, are you using something? I'm like, no, I'm just actually not, catabolic anymore. Like I'm actually fueled and slept and recovered. And I had worn myself down a bit. So I'm super excited to get back on the platform. It's been a bit. But taking that seasonal stuff and actually paying attention to recovery. And I was like, what did I change? What did I do differently? And it was recovery. And so Rob and I had a long talk about that. He was like, when he started teaching, came off of professional fighting and started teaching, that was one of the biggest missing pieces when he started working with people. Was like, do you recover? And everyone's like, what's recovery? And I'm like, yeah, it's actually like a bigger deal than we make it out to be.
No, for sure it is. And I think it's very ignored. We've kind of in the gym and with my own programming lately, we moved into a little bit of a bodybuilding. I love how all these things blend to help each other. I think in our industry, especially if you were to look 5, 6, 7 years ago, when we really started to kind of get all in, you and I and Danny and Rob, and was you were this or you were that, you were this or you were that, right? Like, but we implemented the body
between modalities. Yes.
Yeah, by implementing a little bit more bodybuilding, we've people have trouble getting into the gym in the summer, so we can get a little bit more done in a little bit more controlled manner, and it's not as intensive. Or if you miss a Wednesday, we're going like a full body splits on Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
So it's allowed people to really get in more. But what's kind of what I'm seeing is a lot of women in particular, but a lot of guys in my gym too. We don't have a lot of muscle bound guys. Is thickening up their muscles in their backs, especially in particular. Injuries are going down, but their deadlift, without us even focusing on a conjugate or a real powerlifting program, is skyrocketing. And that's really cool to see, especially in like call it novice. I mean, what is really great, I don't know, but let's call it the novice lifter in my gym, and in comparison to the strongest and the weakest in my gym, the person in the middle, their gains are incredible right now. And that's been really fun to I love switching it up. And then I know you're big into learning. It's been nice to go in and learn the one thing that, I kind of grew up bodybuilding, but because that's all we did, guys like me and Rob when you were kids, but like you didn't know you're doing it. So to learn more about this and try to like actually like look at your chest and be like, hey, how can I get a little bit more up there? And it's been real fun.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And that's what it's funny because Rob was like, yeah, your back looks really good. Like, what are your accessories right now? And it's funny because my accessories are all powerlifting specific, right? So I'm really working on like locking down and in, right? For my because when I'm pulling, the first thing that goes is that upper back. That's I also kind of let it go because I'll like, if I'm like questioning the lift a little, I'll be like, I don't know. And so I'll let this go. And so I've been really locking it back and then, leading with chest. And so I've been doing a ton of croc rows. I've been doing a ton of pendlays. I've been doing a ton of single arm stuff, wide grip pull-ups, a ton of lat pull down. So I just been changing grips, a lot of, T-bar. Anyway, he was like, so what are you doing? But my deadlift is going up. So it's like, yeah, I'm building my back. And you're like, oh, so you're bodybuilding. It's like, no, yes.
Yeah, you kind of
I am bodybuilding my back and it looks great. But really it's only for this one thing that I want to do. Like it's really just for my deadlift. And I was deadlifting the other day and my deadlift looks way better because I'm leading, better. I'm holding my lats down better, which is bringing the bar closer to my body, which therefore makes it lighter. So it all kind of flows together. And I think that's a great point about like blending the modalities. It's like, we don't have to be one thing or the other. Like, oh, you're a power lifter. What can I learn from you? And I'm like, a lot. I know how to move weight really efficiently. You don't have to do my sport to learn. We don't have to do the sport to learn something from it.
Right. And bodybuilders are about mind muscle connection, but like I think it's under like not talked about enough is how much a power lifter, like when you're 1 rep maxing, you're fighting you're fighting to stay tight as much as you're fighting to actually get the weight. Like if you can stay tight, you need to stay tight to avoid that. Like you're at the 1 rep max, you're looking to pop a pec, you're looking to all those things that are so imperative to staying tight. For me with you're saying the back, being now I'm like got to train a little bit different. Being 43 is I've been going a lot of chest supported rows, so I'm not in the kind of the same deadlift positions that on my deadlift my low back is feeling a little bit fresher, and it's jump started me back up again
after that.
Yeah. It's really spiked me up a bit, which has been nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Good. Yeah, for sure.
So question for you though, let's go, like people love this stuff. So if I know it's about your weaknesses, but if you had to pick one accessory work for your bench press, what would it be?
So narrow grip bench.
Narrow? I'm a rolling tries guy. I love the rolling tries.
Oh, I like that too. Have you done JM presses?
Yeah. Yes, we do.
So the two that I like if we're talking triceps, I started doing decline JM presses. So if you want something fun, a decline JM, JM is just really to the throat, right. Forehead, right?
Yep.
But if you give yourself that downward angle, you don't have to like rock it so much. You can just kind of just aim and press out. Brutal. And I love it. It isolates the crap out of your triceps. But I'm a wide grip bencher, right? Competitive. So when I wide, it works, the back and chest and all that really well. When I bring it in a little, it's so tricep dominant for me. It's like the bar path is forever long. And every week I work on like chipping it away, right? So I'm now doing, I think 140 or 145 for sets of 5 after heavy bench. Yes. And it's like, so just going to keep chipping away, increasing it a little more each week and bringing it up.
Right. And kind of general rule of thumb is training narrow will really translate to your wide, and vice versa. Training wide for the low body will train to your narrow. Yeah. For people listening. So, and then if now deadlift, what would be your favorite? It doesn't have to be most effective, just your favorite.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. But you like a safety bar. Actually, you're the one who got me safety bar. Good morning. I think you're the first person who got me on that with the safety bar. So much more comfortable. I love it.
So much better. And it brings the bar high.
Yes.
So when you're coming forward, if you are barbell, I'll do the thing where I'll wiggle it down a little and I can use more weight, which is good. You want to have days that are heavy on your good mornings and days that are lighter. So I really like that. And good mornings from pins. So the way that you want to set it up, or one of the great ways to set it up is to set it on pins, the start of your deadlift height. So you want to bend over to like if you deadlift, let's say from here, right?
Yep.
You want to put the safety squat bar on your back, but you can put your hands down, obviously safety squat bar, and go to here, set it on the pin. So set the pins there. So every time you come down, you stop and you have to like do a concentric. All it is
right.
Stand up. Oh, it's fun. You'll like
see some of these at the garage gym coming soon. Give me what was your, I find that the good morning is one of the most poorly done exercises. It's hard to coach. It turns into like an RDL with a weight on your neck.
Right.
Like, so what's one of the cues that you like to use with your people to kind of get that banana shape that we're looking for lack of a better word? So trying to slide the butt back, right?
I slide the butt back, but not too far because then it takes it out of the back.
Right.
But I like this like weird hybrid in the middle. So I really pay attention to where the knee is. So
that's me.
Everyone's knee over the ankle. So if the knee goes too far forward, it's a squat.
Yes.
And if the knee goes too far back, it's an RDL. So I'm like, stop moving your knees around so much. And then I know this sounds weird, but I use clamshell. I don't know why, but I always like envision like a clamshell because you want to use the erectors, right? And so I'm like, I have them with the knees kind of not moving, kind of like a traditional box squat, and then really pivoting in the waist. So like hinging. Right. Hinging is the word I want to use. So that's what I focus a lot on, the hinge, sitting back ever so slightly. But it's all about hinging for me.
Absolutely. And I think like it's the hypermobile women that are like, you have guys too, but generally we're talking women being hypermobile, guys being super tight. Like me, I could do a good morning right now without any weight and feel my hamstrings. Whereas,
totally. And
a lot of women are saying like, I can't feel this at all. And you're like, oh, well.
Yeah. You're like, oh no, what do I do now?
Yeah.
I add more weight.
Yeah. That's always
until you can feel it. And so that's, and then all of a sudden they can't move it. Right. And I'm like, all right, now slide your body back. So the weight's more over the midfoot, and they'll slide it back and then they'll move it. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, that's what we're looking for. But a lot of the times it has to do with the knee. So the knee, they shift their hip around, turn it to use their quads and scoop it. And I'm like, no, you don't want to scoop it into the quads. You want to keep it as a hinge and in the back.
And then let's go with your bread and butter, your number one, your big squat. What would you do? Favorite squat accessory?
Hatfield squats. Hatfield squats changed my life.
Okay, yeah. Most people are not going to know what that is. So maybe how can we explain that? Most people listen, they don't watch. So how can we figure this out?
Listening, not watching. Hatfield squat, you have to have a safety squat bar. So that's the first part. It's kind of hard. So you don't have one, you can't do it. But you put a safety squat bar on your neck, and then you put a barbell on the opposite, important part of the rule, on the opposite side of the rack. Because otherwise the bar will come out of the cups. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You have to put the bar on the back side of the rack or have handles of some sort on your rack. And so you have the safety squat bar on your back, and you just step out ever so slightly in the squat rack. So you just want to take like a quarter step out, and you're holding the bar with your hands, and you just go up and down. So it's kind of like a belt squat, but loaded on the shoulder.
Right.
And it really helps you move weight with your legs without having the leaning, because I have a stripper squat. So if my squat's going to get away from me, that butt's going to pop back. So when I have the bar in my hands, I can use it as much or as little as I need to keep my chest up, so I can fire my movement pattern properly. So
right. A lot of people have trouble getting their ribs over the pelvis when they're squatting.
A ton. And I'm one of them. So I have really long femurs and a really short torso. So I have to go really low bar and lean forward in my squat just to stay balanced. And so whenever I have like an accessory, if I can hold on to something and assist myself just a little to stay up, because my legs are strong, it's just putting the movement. It's almost like a firing movement pattern. So the more I do Hatfields and iron or like iron in that movement pattern of keeping the chest up, and building the weaknesses, because I can feel where the breakdown happens, right? Because you can, again, control it with how much you use your arms. Yeah. And so that is definitely my favorite.
Okay, that's one that I've only done a handful of times, and not even really done it like as part of my training. More, it was just like let me try to set this up in the gym. So maybe I'm gonna apply that up a little bit more.
And do it heavy. Do it heavier than you think you should be. So the two things you want to watch for: do it heavier than you think you should be. And what I mean by that is just don't be you can use your hands. So as much or as little as you need to. So don't be scared of it in that sense. Like go heavy, have some fun, because that's when you can really feel where the breakdown happens, and you're not getting hurt because you have help. You have your own self spotter, if you will. That's one. And two, don't walk so far out that you're reaching too far forward, because then you displace your body. So you really want to be like as close to the bar, like the rack or the barbell as you can be without your plates hitting it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So only clear the rack by like a smidgen. Otherwise, you're like kind of like leaning to reach the rack, and it like then you like sit way too far back, and it's not your like movement patterns not how you want it to be.
Also, you just pet peeve, nothing to do with the half of what you said, is when people do step 10 steps away from the
25
rack
feet.
to
I'm like,
squat. I'm like, what are you doing? You're driving me crazy.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, if you take like just say one step out of the squat rack and you're hitting the rack, I'm like, you don't deserve, you should, there's so many things wrong. You shouldn't have a barbell on your back. I'm like, that means that you would be going like this in your squat. It's like, again, you shouldn't have a barbell on your back if you're leaning that far.
Right, because you're caving over, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that Absolutely. Is not, like, that is a great safety checkpoint if you are hitting the rack. If you like step 1 foot out and you're hitting the rack, that's a good sign that you're doing something wrong.
Good. All right, let me take 1 second here. I'm going to read in my my great hosts, my great sponsors. I'm actually in Kingsville. My next door neighbors, Murray Insurance. They have supported us since day one. Ian and Kara Murray, they're our OGGs at the Garage Gym, and they support everything local. They're a one-stop shop for everything you're looking, whether it be your property, your car, your home, your finances. You guys can hit them up. Tell them that Tango One sent you. You can find them at teammurrayinsurance.ca. And of course, we've been doing all this talk about lifting. Can't forget about my great sponsors, Windsor company based. We love to support local. Is HQ Nutrition. You go there online, or you can come into our shops. We're going to be putting in storefronts in actually all the gyms coming up soon. So you can go there and go Tango 15 to save a little bit of money. Okay, so on that note, creatine. You take creatine? Yeah. Good. Yeah, love to. You know, we've been having so many women ask about creatine. You're one of the strongest women I know. I know you and Danny are like, I love how you guys are like exact same answers for almost everything you guys say. It always like, it's hilarious. But let's talk just a little bit about creatine and like maybe the myth about creatine in women.
So I think a lot of people have this thing that, again, bulky. Women are so scared of being bulky. Right. Creatine does not make you bulky. Creatine is naturally occurring in your body. It just helps you. This is, I think, the misconception is like creatine is going to make you bigger or stronger. It doesn't do any of those things. Creatine just allows you to have 1 or 2 more good lifts. So, for example, Tony, if you were like, Lisa, I want you to bench press with these 45-pound dumbbells and on, as many reps as you can. And I'm like, all right, okay. And if off creatine, I can do 6. On creatine, I might get 8. It doesn't really matter on that one training session. But if every time I train, You're like, Lisa, I want you to get as many reps as you can with 135-pound back squat. Instead of getting, 10, I'm getting 12. By the end of the year, by the end of the week, by the end of the month, by the end of the year, it's like 100 and something more like good lifts that I'm getting. How much stronger is that going to be?
Right. And multiply that again. That applies to not just that movement. It applies to all those movements, right? So like now you're talking of adding 10,000 pounds a month or something. Like it is crazy how it can add up.
And some people say that, well, you retain a lot of water. Well, no, I mean, I think some people may retain 0.5 pound to 1 pound, maybe, but it's intramuscular. You're not gaining, like, it's not like you're going to press your finger and you have like an indent in your skin.
Right.
You're like full of water. It's your muscles look more full. So that might be something that you notice. It's something that I notice when I take it. Like I start to get more fullness. If I flex, my muscles look a little more full. And I don't know if that's a hydration. I kind of started doing this both at the same time. I recently started using creatine. There were some brands I was trying before that didn't agree with me, actually. And there's a brand that I'm using now called Base 12. And it's the way that they break it down or whatever, it's just my body can absorb it. So I've just started to use it. I've been using it now for maybe 4 or 5 months, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that women traditionally weren't using creatine because women traditionally weren't trying to get strong. Like, and how that has just shifted.
I love it. Right? I mean, when you look at powerlifting meets, when I used to compete, when I started, even just 5 years ago, there was like 4 of us. Now there's like 90%. Some of my meets are like 80 to 90% women.
Yeah, there's something about women that they are seeking improvement and betterment more so than men. And I hate to say that. I'm always I get angry about it. I call men out on this podcast all the time because of that. But like we need to kind of, and you talked about being a strong woman at the start, and one thing that you don't do, and which I think is where sometimes we men get defensive, is you're super supportive of Rob being strong too. You're not like, and not just physically. I mean, like of Rob, doing the things that Rob does and being proud of, being the father head of the family. Like I think like that's where femininity, masculinity has gone wrong. It's like, okay, like we can both be strong. And what does that make? If two pillars rise, your platform will be higher.
Right.
So like, I don't think like guys, let's not take the back seat to try to get ourselves better in all ways. And I don't think guys are really doing that. And you guys are absolutely doing it. You in particular. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. We do a lot of, we kind of both, we're very similar creatures. Shockingly, disgustingly similar creatures sometimes, where it's like, we'll get into fights and we're like, oh my God, we're the same person. Like the shit that we're saying is just identical. So we'll fight because we're both saying the same thing. I don't feel hurt. No, I don't feel hurt. Well, I don't feel more hurt. Like we're like, what is happening? But in our relationship, both of us work out. So we have a lot of mutual respect for each other's sport, right? Because he does jiu-jitsu, I do powerlifting. We don't do the same thing, but I understand that he needs to train for his sport the same way that he understands I have to train for mine. So we both are like, you need to go to your training session, go to your training session. You spend as much time as you need to in your training session. I have the kids, I have everything at the home front, like you're good. And we have very, 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 there's a lot of mutual respect there. As far as well as I should say, is taking care of the kids. Like he takes care of the kids. Like he, brushes their teeth before bed, gets their diapers on, does. My grandmother is a great example. She's like, oh, Lisa, you're so lucky that he cooks dinner. I'm like, Grandma, like, yeah, he does a lot more than just cook the dinner. Like he cooks dinner, he changes diapers, he like watches the kids, and I refuse to use the word babysit, but like we take care of the kids equally, and we both work, we both train, and we both like at the end of the day, our date night is like, hey, do you want an ice bath and sauna? Like so romantic. Like let's jump in the ice bath. I'll sit out. You go first, right? I'll count for you. And that's how we spend time together. And it's it's a really great teamwork. And there's not he kisses his kids and tells his kids he loves them. And when they cry, Jax fell off a little step stool last night and wanted his dad for comfort, not me. And part of me was like gutted. I was like, oh, but let me kiss your boo-boos. But he's like, Dad, I kissed my boo-boo. And so we have a really great and Rob is so masculine, right? Like he's this big fighter and he's this big dude. And I'm like, yeah, but he's also a great dad. And he sits with his little magic cards and he's on the ground playing magic cards with his kids. And, it's a really great balance of that, of like having mom go to work, having mom do the same things that dad's doing. Dad cooks, dad cleans, mom cooks, mom cleans. We both do, very similar things in that way.
Yeah. And even before you were in the picture, or maybe before you had moved down there, and we'd go with our kids, Rob would be the first person there's always pictures of Rob with my kids in his hands because he just loved kids. And I mean, he's like, I remember him calling, Danny said it today. He's like, remember Rob called and said like, hey, why don't you guys go out tonight in Salt Lake City and I'll take the kids. And I'm like, what? Like,
yeah.
So that is great. And what I think what you guys do and what we do and why things can work is like, we're not keeping score. Like it's not 50-50, like, you do bedtime, I do bedtime, you do diaper. It's like we do what we need to do, and sometimes that means 70-30 her to me, or vice versa.
Oh my God,
that's not
yes. I think that is I think anyone who's in a relationship, that is by far the best advice you'll ever give, because it always changes. And there was another conversation I had with someone that their spouse and them had this code or verbiage of I'm at blank percent today. So for example, like if I didn't get good sleep, or if I trained too hard, or if I have a meet coming up, it's like, hey, I'm at 10%. So what does that mean? That means I'm gonna be a little short tempered. Can you handle the kids a little more tonight? Like I might need to go to bed early. Like I might need a little help here, right? Like I'm not at my best self. I'm not firing on all cylinders. I'm not at 90%. I'm at 10. I need your help. And so like you said, sometimes it's 70-30, sometimes it's 50-50, sometimes it's 100-0. Like when Rob was sick with C. diff, when he got super sick with that stomach stuff, like he was doing nothing. Like he was, ill. And I can't sit there and be like, I'm doing everything. That's what you do in a relationship. You support each other,
right.
And so that I think is a huge deal as far as like partnering. You have to partner with your partner.
Yeah, when Danny said like she was, she was the general operator of the gym, kind of like you are, the Maximus gym, I think, from what I see. But
Yeah.
like, and she said like, hey, I really want to homeschool these kids. And I was like, okay. So we had to sit down and have a conversation. And the conversation was basically like, okay, like I used to cook 95% of meals and now she probably does. Right. And it's not because she's being house mom, it's just because like, okay, if she's gonna be away from the business, somebody has to be in the business. And
Right.
she's a better teacher than I am. Like, let's be honest. So
Yeah.
like that's where it has to go for us. And so
Where it
that's I think
falls.
it's very, very important to to keep that in mind is like what are the general goals of the whole family of the relationship and like
Yeah.
we're not keeping score. But you'll like this. I always know when Danny, you said the percentage thing. I know when she needs to get out when she like tells me these like stories about our kids. And then he said this and she laughs hysterically. And I'm like, you need to get out of this house, man.
You
If
gotta
that,
go hang out with your
like,
kids.
you
Read some lines.
go, I
Yeah.
got this. You leave this house because if you're finding this funny, you've been in here too long.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my gosh. I understand that too well. And I want to say one thing too about Rob and
yeah,
relationships where he really deserves a lot of credit. This last year has been kind of transformative in the sense of like I had a major surgery, I had my implants taken out. I started talking a lot about that just from a general health standpoint. Where something called breast implant illness syndrome, where a lot of women are dealing with it. So if you're a woman on this podcast and you have implants, or and you've heard of this, or you're interested in it, please feel free to reach out to me. I've talked to a lot of people. Again, it's kind of a big topic that's coming up. And a lot of phantom illnesses that are associated with it. And anyway, it's been a really interesting few years of I cut my hair off, I became a power lifter, I got my breast implants out, and Rob has done nothing, or Bobby has done nothing but stand by my side and tell me how sexy and strong and amazing and beautiful and perfect I am. Like that's just all he's done this whole time, is be so supportive, like as supportive as a person can be. And it's funny because a lot of women have a really hard time with these changes and doing these things because they do not have support at home. They do not have someone behind them saying like they have their spouse saying put implants in, not take your implants out. You know what I mean?
yes,
And
yes.
so I've had women who are like, what does your husband think? I'm like, tells me to cut my hair shorter and to take my implants out. It's like, no. I'm like, yeah, like that's amazing. And I'm like, I am actually sad that yours wouldn't do that for you. Like that makes me sad that like your husband is telling you to, get extensions and to have plastic surgery. And so anyway, he's just been so supportive in that way. But it's been a really interesting year of like, getting my health back in order. And he's been nothing but helpful, with the kids, with home stuff, with all of that, helping me like advocate for women and women taking care of themselves. I know that Danny went through a whole thing with her migraine stuff and vertigo.
Her neck. She had the plates replaced in there, not the plates, the discs replaced with it's got cadaver in there, which makes her more of a vampire than usual. But
she's just a badass woman who's been through a lot as well and has had support and all that. And so just teamwork and having, the right people, kind of going back to what I said at the beginning, being surrounded by the right people and having the right community. And,
it goes both ways, man. Goes both ways. Like I'm pretty sure Rob and I were in debt when when all that stuff happened. If we were keeping score, I was probably behind on Danny, and when she had her neck, I had to step up and even the score because she had supported me for so many years and all the crazy ideas I have, which is awesome. And actually my last I don't really ask interview questions. There's things I like to just take note because I don't want to miss. Was you said it actually, your hair. So I felt from like a friend standpoint or somebody like that's not in your life every day either, like a friend that sees you on Instagram every day, but was that was kind of like the moment when it was like, she's a new person now. When you cut your hair and I remember you posting a picture and I was like, it looked great. I that's the other thing. It looks great. But it was like, man, like I thought there was way more to that than just a haircut. Style change, for lack of a better word.
There was. That was the moment that I became like when I went home, people were like, you should grow your hair out. I was like, excuse me? Like, didn't ask you your opinion. Number one, but number two, like, no. Just what a weird thing to say to someone. Well, I haven't seen you in 3 years. You should grow your hair out. Like, what? But yeah, that was definitely like a huge transformative thing for me. I was a girl who always hid behind my hair. I always had extensions. I always wore it forward. It was kind of like my little safety net, something to hide behind. And I just kind of gotten over being the girl with the top knot. I always would pull it up in a top knot because I needed extensions. I don't have crazy thick hair. And so I either had extensions and I was living behind it, or I wear kind of like a young, youthful top knot. And I wanted to have my own style, my own. I was like, I always wear my hair up, just cut it off. And my hairdresser wouldn't even do it because I was pregnant at the time. She was like, no, we're not cutting your hair off. Like, you're pregnant, you're crazy. We're not cutting your hair off. She goes, if you still want to cut your hair after you give birth, we'll talk about it. And after I gave birth, I was like, cut my hair off, cut my hair off, cut my hair off. And then as soon as I did that, I was like, that's what I got into powerlifting. That's what I became. I started getting tattoos, and it just all kind of started changing and transferring. And I started becoming more and more of myself. And I stopped worrying about what other people were thinking about me and started worrying about what I thought of me. And that's, started making gains in the gym and looking at myself different in the mirror and having, I just call it respect for myself. My body's my ally, not my enemy. And yes. I grew as a person, became a mother, my whole life just completely changed. And I just stopped caring what other people think. What are the words that will kill you? What will other people think? What will other people say? What will other people think? Right?
Yes.
I'm just like, you know what? Time to take over your own life. And you can live this however you want to. And that's bam. And then,
bam, I don't think there's a better place to end it than that. That might be the title for the podcast. I always make a joke. Usually I have a guy filming, but when we do those Zoom ones, we don't. And I always say the podcast title always comes out in the conversation. So I think that's outstanding. And this has been so awesome just sitting down and chatting with you for the first time in 3 years probably since I was down at your house for I think like the Maximus seminar. I don't know what that was last time I was there. But
it's been too long. We need to get together. We need to get the whole crew together.
Been in my memories all the last few weeks. It's been like we usually came to Salt Lake in July, so it's been, they've been all popping up. So
I need to come out.
We just gotta as soon as the two people in power kind of change some rules, maybe Danny and I can start to move around a little bit more. But I don't want to go there. Definitely don't want to end it there. So I appreciate you coming on here. I appreciate you taking your time and your friendship and all your support that you and Bobby have given us over the years.
You guys are our favorite people. So.
All right, I'm gonna hit stop record. Thanks everybody for listening. Please share, please like, all subscribe, all those crazy things that everybody asks you to do. Do it for us. We appreciate it.
Now's the time to do more and be more.